when we're live. Okay, good evening, everybody. This is Mayor Mark Boughton with a special city council meeting for October the 8th, 2020. I even have my gavel with me. Before we begin the meeting, we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm going to ask, let's see here, Mr. Visconti to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's been a while since Fred's been doing that. Unmute yourself, Fred.
How about now?
Okay,
Yep,
there you go.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
allegiance
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Visconti.
You're welcome.
Councilman DiGiulio, I think you have prayer for us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
We are thankful for this day you have given us, its blessings, its opportunities, and its challenges. May we appreciate and use each day to do what is right for the greater good of all that we diligently serve and represent. May we pray for strength and guidance as each day's duties and challenges are embraced. May we be challenged to give our best always, and may we be assured of your presence within and among us. We pray for your continued strength and support during these uncertain and trying times across our city, state, and country. May all those impacted find resolve and look towards better days and times ahead. May those no longer with us rest in peace. We also ask that you bless our beloved, dedicated men and women serving in our armed forces throughout the world for their safe return and selfless service for which we are forever indebted. Amen.
Thank you, Councilman. The clerk is not available tonight, so I will ask our council president to call the roll. Mr. Cava, will you please call the roll?
I will, Your Honor. Thank you. Mr. Alves?
Present.
Mr. Bouzade?
Present.
Mr. Michael Esposito?
Present.
Mr. Levy?
Present.
Mr. Salvatore?
Present.
Mrs. Stanley?
Here.
Mr. Tabersack?
Here.
Mr. Fox?
Present.
Mr. Priola?
Here.
Mr. DiGiulio?
Here.
Let the record reflect Mr. Cavo is here. Mr. Rotello? Mr. Rotello?
He's here.
He's here.
I
I'm
know I
here.
saw him.
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, no problem. Mr. Visconti?
Here, I'm here, present.
Okay, Mr. Palmer?
I'm here, present.
Mr. Knapp?
Here.
Mr. John Esposito?
Here.
Mr. Santos?
Present.
Mr. Perkins?
Present.
Mr. Cheney's? Mr. Cheney's? Has anybody seen Mr. Cheney's on here? Okay. Ms. Camisa?
Here.
And
Well,
Mr.
he was
Molinaro?
here.
Yeah, he was here.
Here.
Mr. Molinaro is here.
Right, and if Mr., let the record reflect there are 20 members present with one absent. Mr. Cheney's was at the ad hoc. I'm sure he's going to just join us momentarily, so.
If he joins in, we'll reflect that on the record.
Yeah, as soon as he logs in, we'll announce that he's here. At this time, Mr. President, can I have a motion for the notice of the return of service for the special?
Absolutely, Your Honor. At this time, I move to accept the return of service as all members have been served properly by the Constable of the City of Danbury for the meeting notice.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Councilman Perkins. Any discussion about the return of service? Seeing none, I'll try your minds on acceptance. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thumbs down. Okay, motion has it. Motion carries unanimously. Ayes have it. The first 30 minutes are reserved for public speaking. While I don't have 70 letters of communication, I have about another 25 to 30, which I'm going to read into the record. There's a reason why I'm doing this. Somebody mentioned at the ad hoc, why do you do this? Because we said that if when anybody writes in about an issue facing the city, we would read them into the record for them since they can't be physically present at a meeting. I will be as fast and as efficient as possible. This first one is from Melanie Barris Frankel. Says, dear members of the City Council, please support naming the Danbury wastewater treatment plant after John Oliver in exchange for donations for our food pantries, teacher supplies, and ALS. This would be a great thing for our local organizations. It would provide publicity. It would also help downtown Danbury. Best regards, Melanie. And Ms. Franco lives at 68 Judith Drive, Danbury, Connecticut. This next communication is from Alyssa Beck. Says, dear members of City Council, I feel strongly that the council should rename the treatment plant after John Oliver in exchange for community donations because doing so will help community members engage with the treatment plant in a positive way. I work for a wastewater treatment plant in a nearby town, and it is disheartening that most residents either take such an essential service for granted or only interact with treatment plant staff in a negative way, sewer backups, etc. I think allowing the plant to be renamed will provide a tactile benefit to the community that is easily seen and understood by residents, which will benefit the treatment plant and its perception in the community overall. Good luck in making a decision. Alyssa Beck, and she resides at 10 Bragdon Avenue, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from William Guaragno. Dear City Council, Mayor Mark and Taylor, I was hurt a few weeks back when I watched the latest stream of This Week Tonight with John Oliver. Did I just hear this correctly, that he was all over Danbury like flies on the John Oliver Memorial Wastewater Treatment Plant stuff? What or why was he so angry with Danbury? Did something happen to him as he stopped by a gas up, or did someone snub him at the station? I was horrified that he was picking on our city. I'll never watch him again, I said. Well, now we are salivating to hear the latest news about the situation. We, the people, need the council to vote to take John Oliver up on his offer. Sign, and the notoriety is given to the city and name that multi-million-dollar poop place after him. Vote yes, grab the cash and help the hurting. Don't Danbury this up. Signed, Bill Guaragno, and he resides at 22 Newtown Road. This next one is from Rena Rodriguez. Rena says, dear members of the City Council, I like this idea of naming the Danbury wastewater treatment plant after John Oliver in exchange for donations for our food pantries, teacher supplies, and ALS. Please make this happen. Free money for Danbury. Thank you, Rena Rodriguez, 13 Eastwood Road, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Joanna and Glenn Cutler. Hello, members of City Council. We fully support renaming the sewer plant after John Oliver, and we know the town will benefit tremendously from the donations that would be associated with the renaming. It is a great opportunity and a wonderful way to improve our lovely city. Joanna and Glenn Cutler, 18 Winding Ridge Way, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Paula, Robert, and Russell Elfon. Hi, Taylor, Mayor Mark, and members of the City Council. Please include me and my entire family as supporting renaming our sewer plant as a John Oliver Memorial Sewer Plant. We are Paula, Robert, and Russell Elfon, 12 Jerry Drive, Danbury, Connecticut. Thank you. This next one is from Dawn Mulhall. Says, dear members of the City Council, I love the idea of naming the Danbury wastewater treatment plant after John Oliver in exchange for donations for our food pantries, teacher supplies, and ALS. I've gotten a kick out of the banter back and forth with John Oliver and Mayor Mark. I'm especially thankful for the donation to ALS after losing one of my closest friends to this awful disease. They are getting close to an approved vaccine to halt progression. Please pray for this. Thank you all. Dawn Mulhall, 27 Ralph Drive, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Carrie Ann Tomano. Dear members of the City Council, I support the proposed plan to name the wastewater treatment plant after John Oliver. This will support many people in our city. Signed, Carrie Ann Tomano. I reside at 20 Royal Pine Road, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from the Zimmer family, 23 Cannonball Drive. Dear members of the City Council, we support the plan. Thank you, Zimmer family. This one is from Susan Bellissimo. Hello, Taylor, Mayor Mark, and City Council. I'm writing to tell you that the Bellissimo family at 15 Wedgewood Drive, Danbury, Connecticut, gives our full support to renaming the sewage plant treatment plant, the John Oliver Memorial Sewer Treatment Plant. Thank you, Best Susan Bellissimo. This next one is from Megan Schmidt. Dear members of City Council, please name the waste treatment plant the John Oliver Memorial Waste Treatment Plant. He will give our local charities a lot of money during these very challenging times and will give us some desperately needed positivity, levity, and humor. We need this. A 20-year-old Danbury resident, Megan Schmidt, 4 Maple Crest Drive, Danbury, Connecticut. This one is from Sonia Zimmer. the Zimmer family at 23 Cannonball Drive. We support the plan. I don't know if they're related to the other Zimmers, but they are different addresses, so maybe they are. This next one is from Debbie Benedict. Dear members of City Council, I support the treatment plant being named after John Oliver. Signed, Debbie Benedict, 43 Lake Place North. This next one is from, Megan's already done hers. Okay, from Evan. I'll get it here. Okay, it's from Evan. Dear members of City Council, please support naming the Danbury wastewater treatment plant after John Oliver in exchange for over $100,000 in donations to our food pantries, teacher supplies, and ALS. This would be a great thing for our local organizations and would provide publicity for all of us. Signed, Evan. I reside at 68 Judith Drive. This one is from April M. Buck. Dear members of City Council, my family supports the renaming of the sewer plant to John Oliver Memorial Sewer Plant. We live at 124A West King Street in Danbury. Thank you, April Buck. She also bought
Your tour.
the tour.
Special tour.
So if somebody wants to come with me, you're welcome to. This next one says, dear members of City Council, I'm writing you to ask that we rename the wastewater treatment plant in exchange for donations by John Oliver to be used for food pantries, teacher supplies, and ALS Foundation. This is an excellent opportunity to help thousands. Please say yes. Kindest regards, Anna Laus, Mothership on Main, Mothership Bakery. I am a resident at 33 Fairmount Drive, Danbury. This next one is Peggy Zamore. Good morning, members of City Council. Definitely in favor of renaming the plant. What a fabulous idea to get the Banks community to support this and providing the funding to the Danbury Food Collaborative as part of it. I can say that they have just done incredible work through all of this, as you well know, to be sure people get food in so many ways, way beyond what we would be expected. And thinking it would be great to get Oliver to come on a Friday and stop at the market, as in one of his rants, he mentioned the quaint Danbury Railway Museum. Signed, Peggy, 268 Main Street. This next one is from Stephen Casey. Dear members of the City Council, I, Stephen Casey, a lifelong resident of Danbury, would love nothing more than a new landmark, another feather in Danbury's cap. Please make it happen. Stephen Casey, 12 Holly Terrace, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Kristen Chapman. Dear members of City Council, I apologize this is so late, but I just wanted to voice my approval for this renaming. As someone who has worked in healthcare, the last few months haven't given us healthcare workers much downtime or reasons to smile, but this has been a welcome distraction. It's not only linked this community together, but it's been something the whole country can get behind. I have friends from the West Coast that are following the story and just love that we are citizens and happily married by Mayor Mark. I didn't marry her, but I did do their wedding. Or this of this great town. Not that I wouldn't marry her, just I didn't. All right, I'm getting deep in a hole here. Of this great town. Please keep this going. I believe only good things can come from this. Kristen Chapman, 6214 Avalon Drive, Danbury. This next one is from Lisa Patton. She resides at 39 East Lake Road. She says, dear members of City Council, I support renaming the Danbury wastewater treatment plant after John Oliver. Thank you. This next one is from Ms. Jean Leda. I am supporting, dear members of City Council, I'm supporting John Oliver's sewage plant, Jean Leda, 1 Candlewood Drive, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Peggy Doran. Dear members of City Council, I certainly am not a John Oliver fan, but in naming our sewage plant after him, we will feed those in need. Please vote yes, and let's take the money for those in need. Sincerely, Peggy Doran. I reside at 14 Cherryfield Drive, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Patricia Deming. Dear members of City Council, let's rename the wastewater plant after John Oliver. Patricia Deming, 7 Craigmore Terrace, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Cassandra Shepherd. Says, dear members of the City Council, I think naming the plant after John Oliver is hilarious, wanted by many, including the celebrity, and comes with a nice donation that the city could use. You should rename the plant after John Oliver. There is no negative side to seeing as a celebrity is begging for it to happen. You won't be sued or anything, and this is another way to keep the publicity going, which is great for Danbury. Please count this as 2 votes for my husband and I. And Cassandra Shepherd resides at 93 Memorial Drive, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Jillian Brown. Dear members of City Council, hello, my name is Jillian Brown, and I live my whole life in the great city of Danbury, Connecticut. I would like to voice my support for naming the Danbury Wastewater Treatment Plant the John Oliver Memorial Wastewater Treatment Plant. I live at 31 Washington Avenue, Danbury, Connecticut. This would not only benefit the community by resulting in donations to local food pantry, but also mark Danbury with a new cultural attraction. Thank you for your consideration, Julian Brown. Okay, Julian. Next one is from Kim Pucci. Dear members of the City Council, our family, who has resided in Danbury for the last 17 years, would be honored if the City Council approved naming the Danbury wastewater treatment plant after John Oliver in exchange for donations to our food pantries, teacher supplies, and ALS. Thank you for supporting this generous contribution that will help so many in need. Best, Danbury resident taxpayer, Kim Pucci, 10 Corner Pond Court, Danbury, Connecticut, 06811. This next one is from Nancy Collins. Dear members of the City Council, I'm in favor of naming the wastewater treatment plant after John Oliver in exchange for donations. And I reside at 12 Old Musket Lane, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Jeff Doyle. I vote yes. Jeff resides at 33 Abbey Lane Road, Danbury, Connecticut, Unit 3111. This next one is from Jacqueline Reeses. Dear members of the City Council, we are longtime Danbury residents and both urge you to do whatever is possible to create the John Oliver sewage treatment plant. Our city can really use the donated money. Thank you, Jacqueline Reeses and William Shue, 6 Dartmouth Lane. This next one is from Renee Corsillo and Matt Squazzo. Dear members of the City Council, I'm ready to address our support for the renaming of the sewer plant to the John Oliver Memorial Sewer Plant. We are in full support of this change and feel that the charity donations will greatly benefit our wonderful city and will draw tourism and attention to Danbury. Please kindly consider approving this obviously beneficial plan. Renee Corsillo and Matt Sequazzo, 8221 Avalon Drive, Danbury. This next one is from Brianna Sergio. Dear City Council, rename the poop plant after John Oliver. Go Danbury. This is from the Goddess family at 20 East Pembroke Road, number 48, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Stacy Brown Smith. She resides at 83 Stars Plain Road. Dear members of City Council, I would like you to know how important water quality is to my family. During a recent test of our well water, we found that the water contained 2 different bacteria. One of my children had been ill and we thought it could be water. The well was shocked and we purchased a UV light system as a precaution. My child's symptoms disappeared after only 2 weeks. City dwellers are lucky to have city water and treatment facility that maintains the City of Danbury's water division, water utility infrastructure, sanitary sewer infrastructure, which includes large water supply dams, a closed landfill gas collection system, and administering programs for recycling and disposal of solid waste. City dwellers are also blessed to receive monetary donations to help sustain our community programs of food, health, and education. I believe the city should humbly accept the offer of donations from John Oliver to various programs. He is a celebrated comedian and television talk show host. In return, Danbury should probably rename the water treatment facility, the John Oliver Memorial Water Treatment Plant. Please don't allow this offer to go to waste, and waste is in capitals. This next one is from Elizabeth Peralta. Dear City Council members, I support the renaming of the sewer plant to John Oliver Memorial Sewer Plant. Elizabeth Peralta, 47 Woodside Avenue, Danbury, Connecticut. This next one is from Whittier Pierce. Dear City Council, I approve the naming of the Danbury Sewer Treatment Plant in John Oliver's honor. Signed, Whittier Pierce, 10 Maplewood Drive, Danbury, Connecticut. And this last one is from Carlo Giuliano, who resides at 17 Skyline Drive in the City of Danbury. I am in favor of naming the sewer plant after John Oliver, not because I like him, but I love what he's doing with his money. Thumbs up. Signed, Carlo Giuliano. And that, my friends, is all of the comments we received in the last 24 hours. These are not the same ones that you heard on Tuesday. With that, Mr. Chairman, that is the end of the public speaking. And at this time, Mr. President, I'll call item 1.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you want to do the minutes from the ad hoc?
Yes. Well, that would be part of item 1. So
I'll start off with the minutes and then I'll read the correspondence on item number 1. And then if you'll entertain me, I'll make a motion on the same. Okay, so the ad hoc committee met tonight at 5:46 p.m., went live on YouTube. Those present were myself, Joseph Cavo, committee member Farley Santos, and committee member, Majority Leader Vinnie DiGiulio. Also present at that meeting was John Priola, Councilman John Priola, Councilman Jack Knapp, Councilman Ben Chianese, Councilman Bob Tabersack, Councilman Paul Rotella, Councilman Dwayne Perkins, Councilman Roberto Alves, Councilman Salvatore, Councilman Fred Visconti, Councilwoman Colleen Stanley, Councilman Mike Esposito, Councilman Elmer Palmer, and Councilman Warren Levy, as well as Corporation Counsel Laszlo Pinter, our Director of Public Works, Antonio Iadarola, and Mayor Boughton. Mayor Boughton opened the meeting at my request, gave a brief overview of the proposal for tonight, and I open the floor to committee members for comments or questions. Questions, just comments from both Mr. DiGiulio and Mr. Santos. I then opened the floor to ex officio members, which we had some comments and some questions. I'm not going to get into who asked questions and who made comments, but we had comments or questions from, let me see, I'm sorry, I lost my place here on the paper. Mr. Rotello had asked a question. Mr. Pinter had answered him. Mr. Chianese had asked a question, and he was answered by Mr. Pinter as well. Bob Taversack spoke, Dwayne Perkins spoke, Farley Santos spoke, and let's see, I'm sorry, because I just did this sort of on the fly while I was also trying to run a meeting, so.
Elmer, Mr.
So that was
President.
pretty much the crux,
I don't know if you meant.
pretty much the crux of the meeting. At the end near 6:15, Mr. DiGiulio made a motion to move the resolution and correspondence to the full council at a special meeting tonight. It was seconded by Mr. Santos. It was voted on by the committee, and the result was unanimous to pass this to the full council special meeting tonight. I entertained a motion from Mr. Santos to adjourn the meeting, and was seconded by Mr. DiGiulio, voted on by the committee, and passed unanimously to adjourn. So those are the minutes from the meeting. Now I'll read the letter from the October 6th City Council meeting, and now tonight for the special meeting on October 8th. Honorable members of the City Council, many of you are aware that the recent back and forth with comedian John Oliver regarding the naming of the newly renovated City of Danbury wastewater treatment plant. Tonight, I would like to present you the attached resolution that I respectfully ask you to adopt to name our treatment plant the John Oliver Memorial Sewer Plant. Mr. Oliver had generously agreed to purchase the sign. He has also agreed to donate $25,000 worth of supplies that our staff has asked for on Donors Choose, a website for teachers. In addition, Mr. Oliver also agreed to donate $25,000 to the Connecticut Food Bank and $5,000 to the ALS Connecticut Foundation if we name the facility after him. But wait, there's more. The Union Savings Bank is a leading community fundraiser with other local financial institutions to match or exceed John Oliver's donations. The money they raise will go in the United Way's Danbury Food Collaborative. All of these worthwhile donations for a place that's full of, well, you know what by now. Special thanks to Mr. Oliver and to everyone involved in the community fundraiser for their generosity. Sincerely, Mark D. Boughton, Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, point of order here. We'll need two motions. The first motion would accept the report of the ad hoc committee, and then the second motion would be to accept this item as a reflection of the ad hoc committee. So first, we should probably entertain a motion to accept the report of the ad hoc.
Okay. So I'll move, Your Honor, that we accept the minutes of the committee report. And I'd like to make a motion at this point now on item number 1.
Second.
Second.
So once again,
Yep.
oh,
I was just going to say, motion's been made to
so
accept.
do you want to vote on that, Your Honor?
Yep, motion's been made to accept the report by Councilman Cava, seconded by Mr. Santos.
Yeah,
And we're on
Mr.
discussion of just the report.
yeah, I couldn't tell, I couldn't hear, maybe you said it, maybe you didn't, but did he mention Elmer Palmer? I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
Because Elmer was-
Elmer, yeah, Mr. Palma also contributed to the discussion.
Yeah. Okay,
The minutes
all right,
should
thanks.
reflect that. Yep. Any other discussion about the report? We're only on the report right now. Seeing none, then I'll try your minds to accept the report. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Or give me the thumbs up. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Now, you read the item into the record. Mr. Cabo will accept your motion. Go ahead and
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, it gives me great honor to receive this communication, and I move to adopt the resolution that will rename our wastewater treatment plant to the John Oliver Memorial Sewer Plant and accept his generous donations of $25,000 to the Donor's Choice, $25,000 to the Connecticut Food Bank, and $5,000 to Connecticut ALS Foundation, along with the generous donations being raised by our financial partners here in the city of Danbury and businesses. And again, I would like to just congratulate, if this passes, Mr. Oliver for being number one and the number two business in Danbury.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion was seconded by Councilwoman Camissa. With that, I'll open up discussion on this item. When we do vote, it will be by roll. So now we have discussion. We did have a lot of discussion at the
Your
end.
Honor,
Go ahead, Mr. Santos. Mr. Santos, you have the floor.
There's not much I can add to this. I've spoken enough on this, both at our last meeting and this meeting, the ad hoc earlier. There's not much more than I can add that our constituents haven't added with the over 100 letters that you've received and 80 plus that you've read. I know this is going to pass tonight, and I appreciate Mr. Oliver's contribution to our community. And I see the levity and the comedy in this. I'm not sure that others see it, but that's okay. So I just want to make sure that we welcome Mr. Oliver to come to the dedication so that he can receive this honor that he's been so begging for. And I look forward to representing the 4th Ward there, my ward where this sewage plant is located. And I also look forward to giving those tours with you, Your Honor, since this is in my my ward. So I thank my fellow councilmen and women for not Britishing this up and doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Well said. Further discussion. Further discussion. Mr. Tabersack, you have the floor. Just make sure you unmute yourself.
To do this, Mr. Mayor. I think I'm unmuted now, okay? All right, I'd like to just thank all the people of the city of Danbury for, building this $110 million project, okay? And I hope people don't misunderstand my opposition to the naming of it, okay? Because I have nothing wrong with naming it if somebody's directly involved in Danbury or somebody say maybe was in charge of the engineering and all. And it may seem that it's not the most desirable type of thing people want, but when you talk about $110 million project, it's one of the more expensive things that the city of Danbury taxpayers have made. So I am very happy with it being called the City of Danbury Waste Treatment Plant or what have you, or Danbury. I would like to also thank all the people who and the banks and all that stood up in Danbury to take part in this. I have great faith that they always do this anyway. I think I brought this up at the ad hoc committee. I just feel that the aid to the teachers and the food banks and all should be a city responsibility. That of the city council, okay, and the people of Danbury and all. And I still have a feeling that, it seems to me that from the other standpoint, it certainly was good publicity program for Mr. Oliver. I don't even know who Mr. Oliver is, to be honest with you. I am a dinosaur when it comes to the technology. I'm probably a dinosaur to many of the HBO programs, whatever that he's on. But I'm just trying to make a point. I'm going to abstain. This doesn't mean that I don't want to see the food banks or the teachers get more money. I believe there are other ways it could be done. I don't know if we spend our time wisely over all this, but I have one other point that really bothers me, because I think many of you know I was a teacher for many years in Danbury of social studies, right? And the outpouring of all these people commenting on this, when our normal meetings, when you look at them, if we're lucky to have 2 or 3 people make any comments, and to me, there have been many, many more important things. So I would just like to just throw this, could I throw this out to the public? Can you hear me? Okay. I just hope that the people who are involved making all these comments, stay involved. Okay. And when more important issues come in up, like the school budget, or for example, or the thing continuing probably with Matrix is going to be probably continuing sometime in the future, homeless, at Super 8 and so forth. I just hope the people keep up their interest, because if they show the interest they showed in this, that would really be a plus. Okay. So I'm going to abstain. I hope people understand the point I'm making. It's nothing personal against anybody. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taversek. Any other members of the council wish to comment? We're in the comment period. Okay, seeing none, I will call the roll.
Your Honor, sorry,
Yes,
real quick.
yep. Is that Mr. John Esposito? Yep.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I was a little bit late to the meeting, just came from work. Brief comment on this issue. I couldn't agree more with my colleague, Councilman Taversack. I won't waste too much time repeating most of what he's just said. I'd only add to that, while I appreciate the humor during a time when we could all use a laugh, I'd have to say that I personally don't find anything funny about insulting our community, and least of all about threatening violence towards children. With that said, I understand that many of the donations that were offered have already been made. And from what I read in the news, the local businesses that have pledged donations still plan to do so. And I appreciate that. And I'll be donating, what money I can, myself. So I don't believe by tossing this out, we're going to be depriving any of the charitable organizations by any donations. I'm just going to be voting no on principles here on this. Sorry to be a party pooper here, but that's just really how I really feel. Thank you.
Thank you, and I enjoyed the pun. Any other people wish to comment? Mr. Rotelli.
Your Honor. Thanks, Your Honor. When this first broke, I can't even remember. It seems like it's 5 years ago, 3 months, whenever it was. I got a call from a newspaper. They wanted to know my, opinion on this, and I hadn't even heard about it. So they had to read me what he said. I was pretty shocked. But I thought about it for a couple of seconds, and I said, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to invite John Oliver to Danbury and just give him a tour, show him the lake, the airport, the train station that he was sort of putting down, Tarrywell Park and things like that. And maybe after hanging out with the guy for a couple of hours, we'd have a better understanding about him and the city and whatnot. And I still think that's a good idea. So I hope that at the end, that the end result of this, that he does indeed come to Danbury and gets a feel for the community and begins to understand that we're a community that's doing very well, that we are responsive, that we are, keeping the crime rate down and we're keeping the taxes down, and that we're doing something that could be emulated by other communities. And we are extremely diverse here in Connecticut, in extremely diverse Connecticut community. And I am very proud of this city. I'm also, oddly enough, on the same wavelength of the commenter who actually works in a waste treatment plant, I'm really proud of our waste treatment plant. One of the first things I did years ago when I got on the council, along with Councilman Chinese, is organize a tour. And we took a tour of the plant, and I was agog. I thought it was like this amazing machine that turns, stuff you don't really want on the bottom of your shoe into something that you can drink or almost drink. And since that time, we spent tens, hundreds of millions of dollars improving it. We keep raising the bar, and the water keeps getting better and better. So when I heard we were naming that machine that's integral to the community after this guy, I no way, absolutely in a bazillion years was I going to support that. For $100,000, I think updating and revising contracts with Veolia, deep EPA surrounding community agreements would send most of that money down the drain. But then I heard over the last couple of days that that's not what we were doing at all. This was purely ceremonial. It was nothing but fun. We understood the levity, but there was no gravity. There was nothing particularly serious, long-reaching. There was no real downside to this. We're not renaming the plant. We're putting a sign up there. It's all in fun. It's a temporary resolution. Hopefully this will lead to some sort of an understanding between the comedians and in the city of Danbury. So at this point, and for those reasons, while I cannot in a million years support renaming the plant, I can support this resolution for a ceremonial sign in front of the plant, having essentially a distance from the plant. I don't mean that physically, but I mean legislatively, with the money that entails and the good feelings that entails. And hopefully, maybe at the end of the day, John Oliver will begin to come to terms with the statements that he made towards Danbury, which were, to me, and it's hard to shock me, I found them pretty shocking. Maybe he'll do a pivot on that. So I'm going to support this and thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for the consideration and the time that we spent the last couple of days going back and forth on this. Thanks, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. I just want to reemphasize the point made in the ad hoc that Mr. Rotella just made. Certainly any future council or legislative body of the city, whatever that may be, can amend it, change it, do whatever they want to do. It's certainly their prerogative. Any other questions? Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Your Honor. Through you or the chairman, I made a comment in the ad hoc meeting a little bit earlier, and I'm just happy that we were able to have an opportunity to exercise a mechanism that we use here in city government called the ad hoc. It bought us a little bit of time between Tuesday and Thursday to ask questions, to do additional research, and also to ask more questions and understand a little bit more about this whole mechanism within the ad hoc meeting tonight. So I'm happy I was able to do that, because that's one of the things, listening to some of the answers that Corporation Counsel gave, some of the questions that some of our other members asked, was able to push me closer toward a yes. I'm still not interested in the whole naming thing, but the system that we're putting in place to name it makes me a little bit more comfortable. So at this point, I can support this, and it's all attributed to the extra time that we had to do those ad hocs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Your Honor.
Mr. Visconti. Yep.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to say the same thing as just about everybody else has said here tonight, whether it was the ad hoc or our meeting that we're having now. This is a good thing. I really think so. I think it's going to put us on the map again for what we do here in the city of Danbury, for all of our great people that we have living here. I agree that it might be a good idea to invite Mr. Oliver here to Danbury, and we get together and have a walk around the different, all of the gems that we have here, Terry Weil, Rogers Park, the museums, so on and so on. Give him a really good look at what we are all about here in the city of Danbury. I think that's a great idea. And I'd like to thank all of the people, the phone calls that I've had, the emails that you have read the last two nights. These people are really great. They've spoken the way they want to speak about what they want to speak about. And I think it really changed my mind, because I really appreciate all of their input, and I think we're doing the right thing here. So I definitely will be, voting in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Visconti. Is there any other members of the council wish to address this?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Alves.
I'll just be fast again. I'm just going to reiterate my thank yous from the other night, and again highlight the fact that he didn't badmouth Danbury. It was just a joke, a funny one at that for many, and I welcome the funds, the attention, the fact that community members, and I wanted to thank Union Savings Bank and the other organizations that may donate in the future, your office for organizing the tours that many of us would like to be a part of. That's going to bring in even more money in a time where everybody needs it. This was a much needed laugh. And if John Oliver wants a poop factory named after him, in his own words, cool. right? I mean, this is easy. Let's just move on and get this vote done and get that signed.
Great. He wants this. He needs this. Further discussion. Okay, we're going to call the roll, and obviously aye signifies yes. We will, and nay signifies no. I'll start with Councilman Alves,
Big yes.
Councilman Bezade,
Yes.
Councilman Mike Esposito,
Yes.
Councilman Levy,
Yes.
Councilman Salvatore,
Heck, yes.
Councilwoman Stanley,
Yes.
Councilman Tabersack, Councilman Tabersack, abstain? Okay. Councilman Fox,
Yes.
Councilman Priola,
Your Honor, Mr. Priola just messaged me. He got kicked off, but he's trying to sign back on.
okay, can you message him, see how he votes? I think that would
Yep.
be, okay, all right. Councilman DeGiulio,
Yes.
Councilman Cavo,
Of course, yes.
Councilman Rotello,
Yes.
Councilman Visconti,
Yes.
Councilman Palma,
Yes.
Councilman Knapp,
Yes.
Councilman John Esposito,
No.
Councilman Santos,
Absolutely aye.
Councilman Perkins,
Yes.
Councilman Shinisi.
Yes.
Do we, and the record reflects that Councilman Shinisi's here, right?
Yep.
Right, obviously, if he's voting. Councilwoman Camissa
Yes.
and Councilman Molinaro.
Yes.
Okay, there being, Mr. Priola, we would need a vote from him. Did he give you a vote? Is that acceptable?
I'm trying to get in touch with him right now, Your Honor.
Well,
I'll
he
let you know in a second.
got kicked out.
Joe holds it up.
Yeah, can he text you and then you can hold it up?
Yeah, thumbs up.
So we have anything?
Yeah. I'm messaging him again right now.
Okay. We're just going to wait a minute, folks, before, for Councilman Priola. Yes.
Yeah, one abstain, one no.
One abstention, and one nay, right? And Priola. Just bear with us just a few more minutes, folks. I can call him, right?
Sure. Somebody has to hold the phone in front of it.
Well, he can, right, or he can just be,
Put his thumb up on his phone.
Just mute me.
Make sure there's-
Your Honor, I'm thinking Mr. Priola may have lost internet and phone at his house for some reason. I've tried several numbers and texted him. I can't get a response from him.
Blame Eversource.
that's never source. Okay, well, unfortunately, Mr. Priola doesn't get an opportunity to vote due to a technical difficulty. However, we have 18 yeses, one abstention, and one nay. Congratulations, Mr. Oliver. You now have a pool plant named after you.
Great.
Good job, council. I'll end all committees and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to made.
Made by Mr. Santos, seconded by Mrs.
Second.
Camissa. Okay, all in favor of adjournment?